Welcome to this Times Techies webinar. I'm Sujit John, and I have with me my colleague Akhil George. The two of us will moderate this discussion that we are having in association with IBM. And we are going to discuss what I see as a very inspiring subject, how global capability centers or GCCs in India are helping transform their parent companies with AI. GCCs in India have evolved far beyond their traditional roles of being support centers. Today, they are at the forefront of AI-driven transformation, enabling multinational organizations to innovate faster, scale smarter, and deliver superior experiences worldwide. In the over 1,700 GCCs in India, there's more than 500 centers that are dedicated to AI and machine learning. They're not just implementing AI, they're designing, testing, and perfecting AI models that power critical sectors like healthcare, automotive, retail, and logistics across the globe. Today, we have with us representatives from three of the leading GCCs that have developed AI solutions right here in India and which have had significant impact on a global scale. And we have IBM, which is helping GCCs down that path of AI-led transformation. We have with us Aparna Rao. Aparna is VP and MD of Cencora Business Services in India and Malaysia. She oversees global capabilities spanning a number of areas, including digital and technology services, supply chain, finance, legal, and strategy execution. Cencora, by the way, is a pharma sector company helping with distribution and all of that for drug companies and customers. Aparna has over 2 decades of experience across 6 GCCs, including those of Cencora, Cargill, Bayer, Monsanto, Hewlett-Packard, and Tesco. She has led 4 of these centers as the center head, building and managing global operations. Welcome, Aparna.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Thank you. We have Chethan Seegehalli. Chethan is Vice President at Siemens Technology and Services. Chethan has driven a number of technological innovations in Siemens, given his deep hands-on expertise in new generation technology and agile SDLC methodology. Previously, he led the digitalization and technology solution segment at Siemens Corporate Technology, focusing on R&D in digitalization. He played a key role in the development of MindSphere, Siemens's cloud-based IoT operating system, and in advancing solutions for Industry 4.0. Welcome, Chethan.
Thank you. Thanks, Sujit.
We also have Navneet Singh. For Navneet, life has come a full circle. He grew up in a steel township, and his first exposure to the corporate world was through Bokaro Steel Plant. After 3 jobs and 3 decades later, he's associated with the steel industry again, this time as CEO of ArcelorMittal Digital Consulting. He set up the entity grounds up to provide technology consulting and delivery services to the steel giant ArcelorMittal. Prior to this, he was at Cencora Technologies, building technological capabilities across data and automation. And before that, he managed supply chain and plant operations for brands like Victoria's Secret, Nike, and Gap. Welcome, Navneet.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Times Techies.
And finally, we also have Santosh Rao. Santosh is partner and executive director and business unit leader for global capability centers at IBM Consulting India and South Asia. Santosh has 28 years of technology enablement experience, specializing in transforming client operations through IBM's comprehensive solutions. In his current role, he drives consultative sales and delivers transformative solutions to leading GCC enterprises in the region. Santosh is a member of the prestigious IBM Global Industry Academy and is a recognized speaker at leading industry forums. Welcome, Santosh.
Thank you, Akhil.
So those who are viewing this can send in questions through the Facebook comment box. Sujit and I will put them to Aparna, Chethan, Navneet, and Santosh. So why don't we start? This first question is for maybe Aparna can take it. Can you give a quick glimpse into the evolution of AI adoption in your industry and the work around AI that your GCCs are doing, that your GCC is doing?
Sure. Thanks, Akhil, for the question. I apologize about my bad throat, but let's move ahead. On a lighter note, I read somewhere that a few years ago, AI was like this bright intern fresh out of college, curious, unpredictable, always needing supervision. And now it's the one leading all the meetings and we are taking notes. Jokes apart, truly AI has evolved from being a buzzword to becoming the bloodstream of business and across industries, from healthcare to finance to supply chain. And GCCs are not just adopting it, but also shaping it with purpose, with ethics and people at the core. So let me just quickly give you a glimpse of how AI adoption has evolved in the healthcare industry and also within GCCs. In healthcare, AI has had a journey from curiosity to capability to now confidence. And I think just a few years ago, the big question was, can AI be trusted in a space that is so sensitive, that's so regulated, like pharma and healthcare in general? And today, I think that question is more about how can you scale and how quickly can you scale, how responsibly can we scale it? And if I look at the journey, it can be divided into three phases. First was digitization, which is more like electronically converting all your records into electronic records, automated supply chains. And then came the second phase, which was more about predictive analytics. AI helped with forecasting demand, with assessing patient risk, etc. And now the stage we are in, which is the age of generative and agentic AI, is not just supporting decisions, it's orchestrating those decisions, from optimizing logistics in real time to designing clinical trial protocols, and also empowering our different functions like finance, like IT with AI co-pilots. I think the shift is very, very clear. It's moving. AI is moving from analysis to action today. And the GCC evolution is pretty much mirroring this evolution, which is not too difficult to understand, because I think today GCCs have become like the second headquarters of a lot of companies. If you go back 15, 20 years ago, GCCs were mainly execution arms. You were focused on automating transactions, focused on cost arbitrage and task automation, etc. And then came the era of COEs, or centers of excellence, where predictive models, deep tech capabilities took center stage. Today, GCCs are AI native, they're innovation engines for the organization, and AI is being used for code generation, for scientific summarization, and even regulatory compliance writing. And I think we all should take a pause and really feel the moment, because I think it's a very historic time that we're going through, where India's GCCs are truly transforming to strategic hubs of global value creation. And we have this unique combination of deep tech expertise and tech fluency, which is making us ideal for safely experimenting, industrializing, and globalizing AI innovation. And I think the most successful GCCs today are doing this, keeping people first and ensuring that the talent and change management is happening alongside, it's evolving alongside technology. The most profound transformation in my mind is a shift from run the business processes to owning build the business product roadmap. And today GCCs are no longer consuming the AI tools that are made elsewhere, they're actually creating them. They've become the ground zero for high value AI activities. Now, coming to our company as such, we have our own version of ChatGPT we call Senchat, that's being managed out of the GCC. Before that, let me take a step back. The India Center is the only center for our IT team, which is called as Global Digital and Technology Services across, apart from our headquarters. And what we're doing in this space is we're focusing on a few things. One is capability and culture building, be it through awareness, trainings, internal hackathons, partnership with automation and data science team. One of the things that we're doing is we're co-locating your business processes, your tech teams, your data science teams, all of them together, because I think that's where the magic happens. And we want to make sure that every process owner starts thinking like an innovation owner. The second is at Cencora, we've had some solutions that are already in production. There's some use cases and pilots with very positive results, and we continue to explore that. We're looking at embedding AI in core operations. At Cencora, you'll see that AI is not just an experiment, but it's an embedded execution. And the guidance also from our executive team, leadership team, is similar. There are four things. Start small, AI is for everyone, work together, and use AI responsibly. So all AI tools and capabilities must go through our AI governance process and meet the standards that are outlined in our responsible use of AI. But to close, what I really like is how Cencora combines analytics with clear patient outcome goals. It's a very strong example that value is not in having AI, but it's in making it work for the business and the user. We don't want to transform for the sake of transformation. If it does not save the end customer time, money, or effort, then what's the point of doing it? So that's the core of everything. Um, One thing to remember is Cencora is a company that's grown through multiple mergers and acquisitions. So you can imagine the tech and the process landscape. You have a very scattered and a very different landscape. So what we're looking at is to make our foundation strong. Because if your foundation is shaky, if the delivery model is not working, if talent is not engaged, if culture is not or misaligned, then AI will only sort of scale that dysfunction. It does not fix it. We don't look at AI as a magic wand. We're looking at how do we get so good at what we're doing. And when you add that layer of AI on top, it just makes it unstoppable. So I think that's our winning GCC strategy with AI amplifying the good stuff.
Absolutely. And the foundation is so important. Well, but Aparna, tell us, is there which which one has made the most progress amongst the various AI initiatives that you've taken, use case where you made the most progress, what you're most proud of as of now? And when you take let's quickly say what Cencora does.
Okay, let me start with what Cencora does first then. So Cencora is a company that used to be called AmerisourceBergen, the pharma logistics company. And it acquired a whole lot of companies with a 10 to 12% year-on-year growth. And today we're a global company called Cencora that mainly is like the Amazon of the medicine business. So we buy drugs from the manufacturers. We make sure that hospitals, pharmacies, vets get this on time. Anything that's order placed by 7 p.m. is delivered by 12 the next day. We also do pharmacovigilance, regulatory, market access, and other clinical trial support to drug manufacturers as well. If you look at the healthcare system, AI can actually help in shaving off minutes from your whole cycle. And sometimes these are very critical. When I was at the center in Malaysia, they were telling me that um, people are doing this airport courier run. And even before they reach the airport, you have people calling up and saying, don't courier the medicine anymore because the patient is no longer there. So I think where the cycle time is reduced or where you locate stock in seconds, I think these are use cases where it's making a lot of difference
Okay, and
because
your
time
center
is
is working on those solutions,
we are co-working with
co-working with your global teams.
yes.
Okay, okay. Navneet, Chethan, you want to add? What are your centers doing?
Chethan, you want to go?
After you,
Okay.
just because you asked.
Thank you for that. Right. So for us, I think, we're pretty new to the game. I mean, digital consulting is just 3 years old organization, but we are not looking AI just for AI's sake, because we believe that AI at ArcelorMittal is more. We look at the power of convergence of all these digital technologies where AI, IoT, cloud, edge computing, and 5G all come together to build solutions, platforms that we are looking at. And we, like Aparna mentioned, we are also co-working with our segments in Europe and in South Africa, in Brazil, in terms of putting solutions together. But I think as a group, we've been using AI in different avatars along with convergence in a lot of these areas primarily. And what we have also realized, and I think one of the consulting companies mentioned, that AI can unlock almost $50 per ton of value in the value chain for integration steel, which essentially accounts to almost 10 to 11% of the cost of production of steel, which is a huge number because steel making is a very capital intensive. It's very capital intensive. So in terms of giving some examples of areas where we are essentially using AI, safety is a big one because for simple use cases like using PPE kits, helmets, and all of for safe operations, moving on to areas where now things like in the steel plant where where hot metal is being moved around from point A to point B, how do we use video analytics to make sure that the crane operators are able to hook the ladders so that they don't triple or fall down? Or in operations area where scrap iron ore scrap is a big input to the process of making steel. So how do we use AI and video analytics to look at fraud in the input area, and how do we make sure that there's an autonomous classification of the different forms of iron which goes into the production of steel? Or in the blast furnace where actually the iron ore is converted into steel, so how do we look at the quality of the hot metal, and how do we ensure that you have an optimized charge for with respect to the fuel mix or the sinter, to make sure that the entire charge is optimized for optimized carbon monoxide emissions to the crowd into the atmosphere? Or looking at the brick lining, which is again used in blast furnaces, how do we ensure that with variables like temperature, time, charge mix, we are able to increase the life cycle of the bricks? And these are some of the areas that we are looking at. And also, when it comes to manufacturing steel, from a quality perspective, looking at the surfaces of the steel which is getting produced, how do we ensure again computer vision technologies to make sure that the quality of the steel that is getting produced is caught earlier in the process? So that's on the production and the operation side. On the maintenance side, again, we are building prescriptive AI tools to look at how do we reduce our mean time to repair, or mean time between failures, to and optimize that, because steel while you're making steel, we have to make sure that it's continuously running 24/7, because any downtime has a huge impact on the cost of making steel. So these are some of the areas that we are trying to see can we use prescriptive AI tools to reduce or manage the maintenance of the machineries that are being used. And then obviously lately we are also trying out areas like SG&A, in where we are experimenting with agentic AIs in sales, supply chain, and also in the finance areas, to see how we can use agentic AIs to do an end-to-end process and improve the throughput, the straight-through processing of the processes. Right. So these are some of the areas that we are working. And as digital consulting, there are essentially 2 or 3 areas. One is obviously we are looking at safety as a huge area to look at, where I think AI can play a lot of role in bringing down the fatalities in the steel industry. And the second area, we being new, we have a huge R&D team sitting out of Europe and America. We want to be the extension commercialization partner for the R&D teams, because they build solutions, but when it needs to be rolled out to different plants, we got around 80 plants across the globe. How do we ensure that we become their rollout partner, and in the process manage the platforms that are getting created?
So very different steel plant from what I was telling them yesterday. I also grew up in Bokaro steel city, and I've seen the plant. So what a very different steel plant from what we saw in our days. Is it, Navneet?
Yeah, absolutely. I think in those days, Sujit, things were pretty manual, and now we see a whole lot of sensors across the steel plant which are capturing data day in and day out. And those are getting fed into algorithms with respect to time series, which are essentially giving you historical data and making predictions, and actually prescribing you that you need to do this by this time. Let's say if a roller or in a rolling mill, you see certain vibrations getting captured along with certain oil or fuel parameters not in line with what is required or what is mentioned, the algorithms will tell you that this will fail in 48 hours. So instead of waiting for the failure to happen and the plant to stop, you actually take action even when the plant is running, to make sure that you don't have a downtime on the shop floor. So that's the difference from 30 years back to now. What we are seeing, these technologies are helping improving areas across, either in manufacturing it or on maintenance areas.
Okay. Fascinating. Chethan?
Yep. Thank you. So just a quick intro about Siemens itself, so that it makes sense in terms of stitching all of it together. So we are in 4 areas. So digital industries, which is both discrete as well as process automation, discrete manufacturing as well as process automation. And then we are in smart infrastructure, which is electrification, all the grids and the substation automation and all that stuff, and the building side of it. So that is smart infrastructure. The third one is mobility, anything train, like whether it is end of train, rolling stock, automation, all of it. So that is the third pillar. The fourth one is Siemens Healthineers, and that's a separately listed entity. So primarily Siemens AG is made of these 4, of which the organization that I represent, Siemens Technology and Services, we are the technology arm for the first 3, DI, SI, and mobility. So I have been in existence for a very long time, even probably when I was in school. So has come a long way, has gone through multiple transformations. As it stands today, not different from the other 2, we are also co-developing different type of solutions and the products. Okay, so products, the R&D part, and solutions where you take your product to a customer to specifically solve a pain point. Now, AI for us, like if I were to kind of treat the new kid on the block, Gen AI, separately, let me call the first one custom AI, right? So where we build using the same set of data points, the infrastructure, we build AI solutions. For us, it has to be robust because we manage critical infrastructure. Like I can't just deploy experimental AI on factory floor. For example, like ArcelorMittal will not say, come experiment with some AI in our factory. So it has to be robust. Okay. And then it has to be democratized because our solutions will be used by different type of people who are on the factory floor, configuration engineers who are extremely technical, the R&D folks, all of it. So it has to be democratized. It has to be accessible and to be used by all. And then the biggest factor should also be that it has a purpose. Like both the panelists said the same thing. Like we don't want to just deploy AI because it is cool and then it makes us look cool. Right? So it has to be with purpose. And purpose could be sustainability. There are multiple areas where Siemens has deployed AI to reduce the carbon footprint. So you can design products in such a way that they can be serviced. Like you don't have to replace, but you can service. And this starts right at the beginning. So it's not an afterthought, right? So when you're designing a product, you make sure that this product uses very less virgin material. It uses recycled material, like, of course, without sacrificing the functionality. It can be serviced, it can be repaired. So the final landfill is only a small part of it. That's one example. Or you can help build energy efficient data centers. The best way of managing temperature across the living spaces, all of this. So this has to be with purpose. So that is at a very high level. Now we also have a unique challenge, meaning, of course, every industry says they are unique, but then for us, uniqueness is, like you don't have like a million data points of failure, right? So if you are running, say, for example, in an airport, it is not that the escalator breaks down every other hour, right? It is probably in a year 5 or 6 instances. So you have to really infer what went wrong with this limited set of data. Luckily for us, because we have been in the business for 175 plus years, a lot of domain expertise, access to what has gone wrong, and how do we make sure that we detect this even before it happens, right? Just like the other example that we heard, like 48 hours in advance, you get a notification. So we do a lot of this because we have, one, the deep domain expertise. Two, because of so many customers, so many solutions deployed across the world, there are instances of things happening, so you can learn from it. So bringing all of this together, we are able to deploy AI, of course, keeping those three core principles for the benefit of our customers. Now, Gen AI, of course, like now that's also almost like 2.5, 3 years old now. There we have very clear idea in terms of how we want to adapt and then also offer it to our customers. So one is, how do we do it? From just that all of them start with C, so we call it 4 Cs. So one is customer, because our customers, so we are a B2B company. So our customers are the likes of ArcelorMittal or the automotive companies, like you name it. So our customers want to use generative AI on our product suites. So that there are a few examples there. And then there is content. Our products also need a lot of documentation, manuals, configuration help, and these are not like something that you would look at and then immediately understand. There is a certain help that is needed. So that is on the content side. Code is for our internal. Many people don't realize that we are one of the largest software companies. We have upwards of 40,000 plus software engineers across the globe. So the code is also kind of quite important for us. So we do deploy generative AI for that. And then at the end, of course, creative, maybe not so much for our line of business, probably for, like the likes of yeah, or maybe the studios. Yeah,
the studios. Yeah. So a lot of the work happens in your centers in India.
Yes, it does. As I said, these are products that are global. They are developed along with the headquarters or partners elsewhere in the globe. Yeah.
But any specific one that you are particularly excited about?
Yeah, there are a lot. In fact, there are co-pilots that are being built, which can in turn be used by our customers. There are specific portfolios for electrification that is again developed from our center in Bangalore. Sorry?
Electrification meaning? What did you do?
So these are product suites that will be used by our customers who do substation automation or the future of the grids, things like that. Yeah.
Sorry, Akhil, you were saying something.
Yeah, Chethan, you also mentioned you use AI to reduce carbon emissions in your plants. Did you say that?
Yeah. So, like the AI influence is all across the product life cycle, right? So when you are designing something, you design thinking that, like I'll use 80% virgin material. Or you can, at that point, when you're designing, you have these considerations in mind that you don't want to exceed, say, 5%. Now, everything else will be coming from recycling. Now, this is not an easy task because you can't sacrifice functionality. You have to keep the functionality intact, but then look for things that can be that come from recycled material. So these things, yes. And then, of course, like make anything energy efficient. Like you are reducing the carbon footprint, both scope 1 and scope, all actually, scope 1, 2, 3, all. So upstream, downstream. So you will have implications all across.
And is any of that work being done out of the India GCC?
Yes, it is. It is being done out of, as I said, all of these things, without naming the products, all of these things are kind of being jointly developed. There are things that are conceptualized right from inception the organization here is involved.
Okay.
I just
And of
wanted
course,
to add one point. Yeah, sorry.
One another thing. And this is a game that you cannot play alone. And we as Siemens, we are very clear about that. Like our partners, our partner ecosystem, contribution comes from everyone, like starting from the south side where you have the field devices, sensors, actuators, the silicon, the cloud, like everything. So it's an entire ecosystem that is at play. Sorry, yeah. Navneet, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, no. So I wanted to add to that carbon emission and how AI is getting used. So if you look at the steel plant globally, and if steel plant was a country, right, summation of all the steel plants as a country, the steel plants are the third largest emitters of carbon dioxide to the atmosphere, right? So, and hence it's so important for the steel plants to make sure that the carbon emission is optimized to the largest possible extent. And hence there are changes in technologies. Earlier there were blast furnaces. Now we are looking at electric arc furnaces so that we are releasing less of carbon into the atmosphere. And that's where I think, AI is playing a big role. For example, in Europe, in some of the plants, we have optimized the gas use of because when you are using gas to heat the molten, to bring the molten metal, to bring it to a steel level, and the waste heat that is getting generated, how do you reuse that heat so that you are able to optimize the carbon emission that goes out? And that's getting monitored. So in one of the plants, we've been able to essentially bring down 1 terajoules of energy which getting released to the atmosphere by bringing in AI into the gas optimization and waste heat recovery.
Very interesting.
Santosh, let's come to you next. Unlike most enterprises in India, GCCs primarily have technology at the core. What are you gathering from your conversations with GCCs who are driving AI adoption for their parent organization?
Yeah, Akhil, thank you. And first of all, you heard from three of our clients, right? Thanks to Aparna, Chethan, and Navneet to join us here very clearly. And you heard from them on the importance of AI adoption and also the role which each of those GCCs are playing and the critical use cases which they're taking forward, whether it's pharma and health or whether it's with electronics and electrical equipments, large scale, or with the whole steel plant. So these are some of those live use cases which we heard. But what we are also looking is GCC has predominantly been in the initial years, as we all out here knew. It started off almost like a labor arbitrage, cost takeout. I would say a bottom line play in the sense, can we really look at it from a CFO's office? You would look at GCC as a bottom line play. The whole thing has shifted. The center of gravity, I would say, for innovation has significantly shifted. Innovation at scale, as Aparna mentioned, has really shifted. And we are seeing GCCs move up. I don't want to bring in another acronym, but they are moving up the value, and where we are really looking at GCCs actually becoming global value centers, right? And the way I'm looking at it and trying to bring that term is it's no longer a bottom line play at all. It's all about top line and how do GCCs make an impact for their business and business outcomes. And that's exactly what we are seeing is a significant shift in the aspect of how GCCs are moving through that evolution of where it was initially to where it is heading towards in their journey.
So enough talent, Santosh, to do all this.
It's a challenge, to be honest, right? I would say there's an aspect which I want to bring it up, being a very proud IBMer, almost getting closer to 3 decades. But you would be surprised that to know that IBM has been associated with AI in different forms of AI, almost way back from 1950s. Right? So you would really be surprised. Even when the word was being coined as AI, we've been involved with those research leaders and so on. And it's evolved, right? It's gone through its own form, whether we look at the game of chess with the Deep Blue, when different forms of machine learning came in, and then the whole Jeopardy, which brought in the whole Q&A related aspect. So it's evolved. The reason why I'm bringing this history is I think right now we are looking at effectively also embracing what is really needed for our clients, like, whom we have here. They are really looking at talent to be assisted with AI. And that's one of the reason where we are actually bringing in, leveraging our years of experience of AI evolution, what we have as an IBM Consulting Advantage platform. And the way the platform goes is to assist a business analyst to do more, assist a developer to do more, assist a tester to do more, and actually bring the whole operations together. It is called AI operations, but the operation is an assisted operator. So what we are really going through is an evolution of making sure the standard software development lifecycle is now an assisted software development lifecycle. And that's how we are augmenting the talent. Where talent definitely is there, we are bringing in the synergies between industry experience and technology together for augmenting through this assisted workforce. Is how we are enabling.
In these GCCs that you're in touch with, that you work with, what AI has become a major part of the work that they do, is it?
Significant, right? Because I think most of the GCCs, as we heard on this call also, right, leading strategic projects, and most of the GCCs have evolved into co-working, right? In the sense, it's almost like a co-source, co-development model. There is a global team.
Global team.
There is also the team in India or in Krakow or in Malaysia or in Philippines. The co-working model of a true globally integrated enterprise, the way we actually brought it together, that's happening. And what we are also seeing is the whole ecosystem partnership, where we are one of those strategic partners, where we bring in both consulting and technology together, and effectively also bring in other partners as part of whether the whole cloud or AI adoption, where the aspect of accepting and embracing the partner ecosystem, which is very much available in scale in India for their adoption, is definitely very, very high. And that's where I think we are seeing this whole co-working and the innovation, as Chethan mentioned, right from inception. It's almost becoming those innovation hubs where there are thought leaders. Hackathon is what Aparna mentioned, right? The idea generation itself is being created. There is prioritization which goes in, and then it actually goes through the next stages, which is happening right from the GCC here. And then the co-working model takes into effect is what we are seeing.
I hear that a lot about the ecosystem in India. No, absolutely. Services companies, GCCs amongst themselves also beginning to partner, startups, of course, academia. Akhil?
Yeah, let's get on to agentic AI now. It's the tech of the year, if I remember right. Aparna, maybe we can get you back in. Agentic AI is the latest dimension that is really gaining speed in the industry. Gartner predicts that by 2029, agentic AI will autonomously resolve 80% of common customer service issues without human intervention, leading to a 30% reduction in operational costs. How do you see its effect in your area?
Yeah, agentic AI is the next cool thing. It's a really exciting development because it's the empowered AI model, right? That from being an assistant is now an operator sort of a thing. Till now, what AI did was it analyzed data and told you these are your options, but agentic AI will be the one to take action, of course, within set boundaries, of course, and then learn from these outcomes and work with other AI agents, because I was very fascinated about this AI teammates and AI team leader and all of that. So I think it is definitely going to make a lot of difference. I think the question is changing from, can AI help us, to how do we work together with AI to create the outcomes that we want? I mean, just a hypothetical situation, right? Like imagine AI agents, they're like managing the entire medical supply chain end to end, from automated temperature tracking, the sensitive shipments. Because, for example, what we deal with is mostly between 2 to 8 degrees of shipments. You have also shipments which are -75 degrees. You have cryogenic shipments as well. So tracking it automatically, where does the temperature drop, resolving payment issues, or even alerting hospitals before they run out of stock. So I think all of that is not in a very distant future. It's already starting to happen in parts. I think agentic AI is also helping with scanning genomic data, clinical trial data to suggest new drug targets. Also, regulatory agents are actually drafting documents as well in the industry. I think what we need to think of is, with all this automation, where does it leave the humans? Because that's evolving too. There's a shift from operators and executors to actually supervisors. So people who design, who monitor, and who validate, sort of like a supervisor to the AI agent. There's a growing need for AI governance roles, folks who can ensure that the decisions that agentic AI can make are ethical, are explainable, they're compliant. I think humans will still be essential, especially if you have new scenarios, like new regulations, for example, or some unique challenges that have not happened before. So I do see that GCCs will become like the controllers of these processes, and not doing the task, but orchestrating, using the agents to generate the business outcomes. So I think it requires GCCs to start preparing for this. One is to define that autonomy, like clear rules of what and how much freedom do AI agents have, and where human oversight is still needed. To give you an example, maybe AI agents can process all invoices, but things that look funny, things that are high value, can go to a human role, for example. Second, it'll require us to really reimagine roles of people. As AI takes over more and more tasks and decisions, the reskilling becomes very important. New roles, we call them AI orchestrators, AI trainers, supervisors, however we call. So there'll be new roles that will come more from a governance, quality assurance standpoint. And last but not the least is trust, because how do we embed transparency or audit trails or compliance check into every AI workflow? And I think India has a unique edge here, because our talent pool is not only coders, but I think it's quite specialized. You have prompt engineers and MLOps professionals, governance experts, etc. So I think, yes, it will affect our industry, whether it's GCCs or pharma or healthcare. And it
Anywhere where
won't.
you already applied it, anywhere where the agent is already taking decisions for you.
Oh, we are trying to apply it everywhere, but it's all under what do you say,
Okay.
trial and being piloted, etc. Right from S4HANA, ours is going to be one of the world's largest S4HANA implementation. Like I mentioned, it's a 300 billion company. Right from there to every single thing, we are trying. And let me be honest, we're still in the piloting use case
Pilot
sort
stage.
of
Okay.
stage. Yeah.
Navneet?
So pretty much like Aparna, I think we are also trying out proof of concepts in finance functions, supply chain, bit of HR, bit in procurement. We're trying out the capabilities. I mean, we have seen enough and more demonstrations of the product, its capabilities. To run it in our own environment is something which we are now trying it out, because I think with the JLR story that happened, I think in August, where the whole plant was shut down, and I think because of the this thing, there's a lot of regulations that we need to know pass through to make sure that the agents are running autonomously. And I mean, right from cyber to SOX compliance, the whole thought process is to essentially first let's have human in the loop in every single decision, while the let the big legwork and heavy lifting be done by the agents. but let it not be autonomous as is. I think it will be a evolution, and we will see that happening in phase till a trust develops over a period of time. So yes, so
What
we
is the
are also.
challenge there, apart from compliance and all that? What is the challenge in ensuring absolute accuracy and all that?
See, some of the areas that we are trying out is in finance. Let's say in the accounts receivable area, we have to post certain invoices into the SAP system, and that's the place where the business is still not very confident. So all the matching and all of like downloading it, reading it, matching it, but when it comes to final posting it in your ERPs, that's the area where the business is still not very comfortable. Maybe it will evolve. I think once we see the confidence levels going up to maybe 99 point something percent, then we will probably make it autonomous. So I think it's a change management that we are seeing currently is a challenge, not so much the technology.
Okay. Chethan?
Yeah. So pretty much the same storyline. There's a lot of initial promise and experimentation. Now, if you ask, do you have production grade agents that have been released to the customers? No, not there yet, but soon. Good examples, as I said, like a lot of our solutions or products, they come with a lot of deep domain expertise. And so, yes, it is software, but then there's a lot of domain expertise that's needed. So for us, like every problem is, like you need an agent which can independently determine the cause. Then connect to a domain expertise agent. Find out if there is something that there's some new information that can come out of that. And then you, of course, need an orchestration agent. So now whether it is MCP or all of these setups are available, and there's a lot of promise that we are seeing. Now, this is on the R&D product customer side. But on the other side, on the GBS, finance, and then certainly there is a lot more happening. But when it hits the critical infrastructure, so we have to make sure a few things are taken care of. One is accountability. Right? We do not want anybody to come up and say, I didn't do it, the agent did it. That's not acceptable, and everybody would agree that's not acceptable in any scenario. Now, the second thing is also explainability, right? So we need to make sure that whatever is happening, there should be, like why did it happen, should be easily explained. Then all of these are non-negotiable, not in any order, but non-negotiable. Security, safety, right? So again, whether it is data security, how we handle all of it, how do we make sure that it is considered with utmost priority? That is the other one. This is about the system security and safety, but then also very important is data governance and privacy. Because when you are a company, you are dealing with multiple customers, then you have to make sure of a lot of it is regulatory, but you also have to make sure that data governance and privacy is taken care of. Human in the loop or human oversight is equally important. And then, of course, it has to be responsible. You want to make sure that whatever the organization stands for, those values are not compromised just because you are bringing agentic approach. So building it and demonstrating it as a piece of technology is one thing, but then when you are bringing it, when you're making it production grade, when you make sure that all the things that I just mentioned, some 6-7 things that I mentioned are considered and is readily deployable, will happen soon enough. But then the journey, it's progressing, I would say, quite well.
Yeah. What do you foresee in 1-2 years? A lot of decisions will be taken by bots.
Good question. Prophecies, especially coming from me, seldom go right. Okay? With that disclaimer, I am somebody who believes that the incline is flattening. Okay, there are things that people are visualizing, and then there are so many things that are happening around, but especially areas where new data elements are put into the knowledge base, right? So for example, about the India's fiscal policy, right? So that data doesn't change every minute, but then when you are looking at data coming from an actuator or a sensor, that probably changes multiple times in a minute. So things like this, there are other challenges as well. I'm not writing it off, but neither do I say that, like I'm sure you guys have heard of this concept of dark offices, because everything is run by agents, so you don't even have to switch on the light. Like it's running somewhere. Just the silicon is doing all the work. I'm somewhere in between. Call me pragmatic, but as I said, the disclaimer, like generally my prophecies don't go right.
Okay. Okay. Akhil?
Yeah, Santosh, Chethan touched on this topic a little bit, but it's now an acknowledged fact that adoption of AI in any form comes with its own risks and challenges. Can you please shed some light on this? Why is AI governance through responsible AI framework being spoken about as a viable solution?
Yeah, I think a couple of key points were mentioned, right? Very clearly, I think Chethan called out some of the pillars, and we've actually established what we call as a framework or a pillars of trust, especially for responsible AI. When we are going into the world of agentic, and we are moving from what we strongly believe is an evolution of what used to be plus AI to AI plus, right? In the sense, everything was just being added with AI. Now there are aspects on how do you think of with AI being the primary. Do you have the right level of data quality, the governance around it, and also the whole aspect of explainability, robustness, fairness, and most importantly, the privacy aspects, right? Sensitive personal information related data and so on. So we've created this pillar, and we have actually called it as part of the mission what we have. One of the most important values which IBM carries very clearly is with respect to integrity and trust, right? And while innovation that matters is very clearly a very important aspect, but it is where it's complemented with making sure that we are one of the most highly ethical and integrity. We uphold integrity at the highest level. So responsible AI is all about trying to keep bias out of it, making sure that the explainability aspect of what is the source, what is the provenance, and how did this actually, as Chetan was also mentioning, right? I don't want or our clients do not want to be in a situation of trying to tell that, okay, you were involved in developing this whole solution and workflow, and this is basically I didn't do it, so you did it. So we want to make sure that there is transparency in each step. We also have the entire explainability of what data source came in from where, which timestamp, who modified it, and how is the result coming in. So the Watson X solution which we have brought in to the market, while we work with all of our from a consulting perspective, we are product agnostic, right? So if you really look at it, the theme very clearly is, can we look at it from a Watson X data, AI, governance, and then the whole orchestration with security. So Guardian Security has come in there to make sure that we prevent what Navneet was mentioning, like cyber situations and so on. So security as a solution to really look at it while keeping the transparency and fairness and explainability is a theme as part of this pillar. So that's the way we are evolving. The way we are taking this is in-house. Do it to our own self as client zero case studies. Do it for our own employee base, our own HR, our legal, our procurement. and then it's almost like you're eating your own food, and then take that to the client. So that's the way we were taking this journey forward.
And you see JCCs generally recognizing the need for all this. I guess they're all arms of large MNCs which understand all of these, is it?
Very much. They also are very clearly, as we heard from three of our clear strategic clients, have the reason for them, considering they're all global large clients, right? They have their value systems to make sure that they own up and they are responsible for what is being delivered out of GCC. So very clear themes of making sure that the whole, it might have different connotations or different versions of responsible AI, but that's the whole theme of what we are seeing: trust, transparency, most importantly, explainability from the provenance of data and the steps taken.
There's this question from the audience from Venkarataj Kanagaraj. He's asking, how is the outlook for GCCs in India for the next few years in terms of innovations and talent absorption? Okay, all of you want to take a quick shot at that? How many more people are you likely to employ? A lot of the new innovations, are they going to be driven out of your GCCs for your parent companies? What kind of talent are you looking for, especially in this area of AI and all that? What should the youngsters study now? There's a general concern about jobs in the economy, so some advice to youngsters. Aparna, quick.
Like I said before, it's a historical, momentous time. You can hear all the buzz. I mean, GCCs are not new. It's been there for like 20, 25 years, right? But I think it's the right time right now. In short, the answer is yes to everything that you said. I think India's role is just getting stronger in the whole GCC industry. In terms of study, I think a cross-functional sort of expertise is a lot more appreciated. And
Cross-functional expertise.
Yes, having a couple of different areas that you're familiar with only helps. And I think more on the focus of learning agility, working in global environments, flexibility quickly to learn and unlearn. Because technology is changing so quickly, right? I remember, like, I went on maternity and I came back, and this was 15 years ago, and world's just not 15. My daughter's 18. She's going to kill me. Sorry, this was 18 years ago, and the world just changed. So I think just
pace of change is now so much faster, I guess, compared to 18 years ago.
So I think your soft skills. Yeah, every company is a technology company today. I think soft skills in terms of adapting, problem solving, working with a global mindset and applying that locally, working with different geographies. I think these are things that are becoming more and more important as we are hiring people. We are going to double and then triple. Hopefully you don't put that in print, but I think the next few years are very, very strong. And you've seen multiple reports, right? The revenue for out of GCC is going to be 100 billion by 2030. So I think it's out there.
Yeah. Navneet?
I think my advice to all the youngsters is, since technology is changing at such a fast pace, keep yourself relevant to the problems of the customers of tomorrow. And it could be any technology. Today, it could be, technology A. Tomorrow, it could be technology B. So keep upgrading yourself and, do a lot of reading, get yourself certified, try to understand how these technologies are solving the business problems. And that will only happen when, as Aparna mentioned, have a view of the various domains within which an GCC is working. Let's say if it's a healthcare, so understand the functional domains. If it is manufacturing, understand how technology is playing a role there, not just technology for the technology's sake. Then you will not be able to appreciate and learn how you're solving problem by using whichever technology, and make yourself relevant to the problems of tomorrow. And that's, I think, it's important. It's not that I get certified in technology A today, tomorrow it might be absolutely irrelevant. I mean, 5-6 years back, RPA was the buzzword. I mean, today you don't see RPA being used anywhere. Like, they've been taken over by agents now. I mean, are being taken, right? So make yourself relevant
for the problems of the future.
Yeah.
Okay. Chethan?
Yeah, so like I have this problem of being an optimist in certain cases, and I'm an optimist in this, a die-hard optimist. So I read recently somewhere something called Jevons paradox. So during the Industrial Revolution, till then, burning coal was very inefficient. And then about in the 1800s, burning coal became efficient, like one of the innovations. So what could be done with 100 kgs of coal could now be done with 40 kgs of coal. Now imagine at that point in time, people would be discussing, oh, now we don't need coal, because now you need less coal because you are getting the same work done. But actually it propelled the entire industrial revolution in a different direction, because now burning coal became so easy, efficient, and cheap. People started using more of it. So I feel software, of course, there will be initial hiccups, people will have that shock value and all that, but in the long run, I'm a big believer that this will lead to a next wave of innovation, growth, and things that we are yet to see, meaning we don't know what will come tomorrow. But what I think both the panelists agree, and I just say I concur. See, the skills, the technical we learn, meaning nobody was born with, like, I'm sure though Navneet was born in Bokaro, but he didn't know steel, right? So he learned it. So we all acquire technical skills. But what we think or what we should concentrate on is the softer aspects, the learnability, as Aparna was mentioning, like how quickly can I learn something? How quickly can I unlearn something? How can I work with people, irrespective of agent who builds whatever? It's still the same world that we live in. Say, how do I work with people? How do I bring in this innovative mindset? These are things that I think the youngsters should practice, keep in focus. Technical, they will learn. Yeah.
Learnability, innovative mindset, working with people. Santosh?
Yeah, so I think we are trying to go through in line with what all of our client leaders mentioned, right? Domain, that's one of the reasons where we are bringing in a very clear domain ladder, right? In our progression of people, we are looking at, does that person have a specific industry tagging or an industry badge? If someone's working for a CPG firm, have they gone through the qualification to be one of those developer, tester, operations person in a CPG firm? So we actually encourage and mandate them to get certified in that industry knowledge. So that's domain. The other aspect very clearly is technology. Definitely, as Chethan also, I'm on the optimist side, right? I strongly believe we are already talking about agent evaluation framework, in the sense, if agents are not doing good, maybe we should probably evaluate them that they are not good. We are no longer talking about employee evaluation framework. It's going to be a world of evaluating agents and agents' performance and so on. So be part of that evaluation where we'll be evaluating agents and agents' performance. So I think there is going to be a future which is definitely unknown, but something where technology and domain will synergize and create more opportunities for growth in different areas. Different use cases, different areas are going to open up on a regular basis.
Absolute unknown future, but plenty of opportunities. All you need, what you need to do is to be, the learnability factor that everybody mentioned. You have to learn, you have to unlearn, you have to look at the future and see what could make you more relevant. And GCCs, honestly, it's one of the most exciting things happening in India right now. The number of GCCs that are coming in, the kind of work that they are doing, absolutely almost stunning. Almost reminds me of what China did for the manufacturing world. I think India somewhere is doing for IT and tech and AI now. And from whatever we hear, I think a lot of jobs being created there, and increasingly a lot of jobs will be around these areas that we discussed today. AI becoming central to literally everything. Thank you all so much, Aparna, Chethan, Navneet, Santosh. Really nice having you from Akhil's and my side. Thank you very much. Thank you all. See you again sometime.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.